5 p.m. Lafourche Parish Council meeting of September 12, 2023 is hereby called to order. Ms. Carlene, can you please conduct roll call?
Yes, sir. Mr. Jones.
Here.
Mr. Adams. Mr. Grove. Mr. Melvin. Here. Mr. Wendell. Here. Mr. Arabi. Here. Chairman Oden. Here. Mrs. Chesson. Here. Mr. Lorraine. Here. President Chesson. Here.
Thank you very much, Ms. Carlene. If everyone would please rise, we'll be led in the invocation by Councilman Grove, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilman Lorraine.
Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'd like to welcome everyone to tonight's council meeting. We'd like to remind everyone, if you would please silence or turn off your cell phones out of respect for the others. Also, there are blue forms at the entranceway when you came in. If you're interested in speaking to the council during public wishing to address the council, when we get to that part, council clerk will call you up in order of what the blue sheets have been received. However, when we get to ordinances, I will ask for any input if anyone wants to comment on a specific ordinance. And I'll just remind you, once we get to resolutions, there won't be any discussion. It'll be just amongst the council before we take a vote. So that this will be the time during the public wishing to address the council for any resolution items. With that said, we'll jump right into tonight's meeting. Item A, approval of minutes. I'll now entertain a motion to accept the minutes of the August 22nd, 2023 regular session. So moved by Councilman Wendell, second by Councilman Arabi. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 9-0. Item B, state and/or federal legislative updates. Do we have any legislators, state and/or federal, local? None. Brings us to item C, Lafourche Parish Outstanding Citizen. We have none, Ms. Carlene. Brings us to item D, executive session. I now entertain a motion to so moved by Councilman Adams, second by Councilman Jones, to enter into executive session for the following. LARS 4217A2, discussion on the following lawsuits. Number 2, Donovan Freeman, et al. Versus Boyd Racing, LLC, et al. C-725007-19th JDC, AO10 for administration. And also item 3, Louisiana Gaming Control Board, et al. Versus Lafourche Parish Government, et al. C-722256-19 Judicial District Court. And this is all for the administration. And attending the meeting will be the full council, parish president. Are you going to have the administrator come in?
Yeah.
Parish administrator, Ms. Lisa Ogeron, Mr. Joe Saunier, and that's it. With that said, any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9-0. We will be in executive session for a few minutes, hopefully not too long. We'll be right back to reconvene the meeting. At this time, I have a motion by Councilman Wendell, second by Councilman Arabi, that no action be taken at this time regarding the matters discussed in this executive session. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 9-0. Item E, action from executive session. We just took it. Item F, presentations and/or updates. Number 4, parish president to recognize the Lafourche Parish Government Employee of the Month and/or WOW employees for the month of August 2023. Mr. President, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our Employee of the Month this month is a person who works diligently day in and day out to meet the needs and demands of the parish and its employees. She does her job with a smile on her face, is always kind and polite to everyone, and ready to extend a helping hand. You can never tell when or if she's having a bad day because she always brings her game face to work. Her effort does not go unnoticed, and she continually goes above and beyond for her director, her supervisor, and all the residents and employees of the parish. So we'd like to congratulate Miss Emily Ducey for our Employee of the Month.
Wonderful, outstanding worker. Oh. WW, when did it work?
Congratulations on a job well done. Council, let the record reflect Councilwoman Chasson stepped out at 1726. Moving along, item G, legal advisor report, we have none. Item H, engineers and/or architect reports.
Good evening, John Plaisance with GIS Engineering, 16878 West Main Street in Cutoff. I've got pretty much the same group of projects to talk to y'all about tonight. Just not coming up, Robbie? There we go. But I'll start going through them, and if the pictures come up, we'll circle back a little bit. The Butch Hill Pump Station, we're getting real close, 98% set, has been delivered for review. We have gotten the coastal use permit and the core permit. Valentine Pontoon Bridge, we have gotten to the point where with the RAISE grant, we have been holding monthly compliance meetings with y'all, DOTD, the Highway Department, the Federal Highway Department, and the Coast Guard, so we can get that project moving. Don't know the schedule when I last came up here, but we're probably looking just past the first of the year before we start advertising sometime late winter, spring. Grand Bayou Freshwater reintroduction. I had mentioned a little bit last month that we are looking at using more of a bow thruster type facility than a regular pump. We had troubles finding somebody who knew enough about bow thrusters to be able to help us with that, but we think we've located somebody in the last week or two, so we'll be meeting on that soon. The North Barrios Street drainage improvements, we request for quotes packages out, and we expect quotes due at 2 o'clock tomorrow. Eunice Alamo Pump Station, we are getting some traction on that, but we are progressing with those designs. The Lockport Elevated Boardwalk, and we've done the survey, but we finally got the permit to do the geotechnical work. That is scheduled to be performed in the next couple of weeks. And we are continuing to work with y'all to find funding sources. We recently assisted y'all with applying for the Louisiana Outdoors Forever grant, just under $2.5 million that will hopefully get both phases done. And we do have it broken into 2 phases, one to get to the company canal and one to get back. So maybe they'll just give us one, but if they just give us one, we'll take that money.
Great. Anyone have any questions? I'll just thank you because those are projects, most of those in my area, and have brought national attention to our area. So thank you very much for that. Appreciate
You're welcome. Okay. Thank y'all.
Do we have any other engineers and/or architects? All right, that being it, we'll move to item I, public wishing to address a council public hearings, agenda items, et cetera. Ms. Carleen.
Mr. Philip Go, if you'd come to the podium, sir. State your name and address for the record. Mr. Go, please remember you have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Council, Mr. President. Got a question on the water levels of the drainage ditches. I understood that we were not going to back up water under any condition. And I was just wondering the rationale behind that.
Mr. Dillon, you want to comment on that at this time?
Mr. Chairman, so we've gotten questions from a bunch of cattlemen about backflowing water. We have not at any point been contacted by the levee district to say that it was a levee stability issue, right? The other problem is that in years past when we've done this, it's somewhat been isolated incidents, right? It's been one pump station here, one pump station there. If we do this in one particular area of the parish, because as dry as it is, we're going to have every cattleman from every part of the parish calling and want water backflow. And that presents a couple of issues. One, we're paying overtime and running our pumps in a way that they shouldn't be run in reality to move water backwards. And then we then have to work with South Lafourche Levee District to figure out if they're going to turn on their pumps backwards to backflow water, because if they don't, then we're going to have those cattlemen from down the bayou screaming about the up the bayou guys did it and the down the bayou guys don't. And then we face the argument from the guys who have spent money to put water lines in their pastures or do haul water day in and day out to their cows about why they have to do that and why they've had to go through that expense when we're providing water at the back for free, right? So I've decided just to say no. Because if we do it and we do break a pump for whatever reason, and then it does start to rain and we can't move the water the right way, then everybody's going to be screaming at me, not just the cattle guys. So that's the rationale.
Okay, I'm not talking as a cattleman, although I am. The reason or the rationale behind adding water, backflowing water, is to keep the ground saturated, the water table at a certain level. Because I would hope that you know that this terrain that we live in, once it dries out, it compacts and it doesn't come back. And I have a pasture that the guy put piles down before putting the footings, cement footings, and they got 18 inches underneath the cement slab that you can see. And that's from pumping. Another incident was when I was a councilman, the Lockport swimming pool. They said because the pool was built on when it was a gravity flow, it has changed to a pumping type flow, that the ground has changed, the water table has changed, and that was the primary reason we were having cracks in the pool. So with that information, I would think that not for the cows, but for the stability of the levees, because your levees are sinking as well. Everything's drying out and everything's compacting. So I wish you'd get some engineers to talk to you about it and see exactly what damage is being done. Because I can bring you to some levees today that they have cracks in the ground from the drought. The other thing is Highland Drive, back in Nolan Tube subdivision. That's a good indication as well. The ditch, the big drainage ditch in front of my house is starting to slough off. The road is being undercut. Years ago that happened, and we made it a one-way, because when you meet up with a bus coming from the back or going to the back of the subdivision, there's a bus full of kids, there's a good possibility that the road will give way and that bus will flip over, and then we will really have a problem. But that needs to be tended to, and I believe I spoke to you about it recently.
Last 20 years, yeah, we've talked about it the last 20 years, so I know.
Yeah, it's a big
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
But I have a bunch of more things but I know you'll have to.
Thank you, Philip.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it. And I'll echo, I hope we keep the discussion going on the water stuff. I know we've been in constant communication, Dylan and I, on that.
Mr. Farrell Boudreaux? Okay. Mr. Robert Terrio, if you come to the podium, sir, state your name and address for the record. Mr. Terrio, please remember you have 3 minutes.
I fell asleep, I'm sorry. As some of you know, I'm running for assessor.
State your name and address for the record.
Oh, sure. Robert Terrio, 414 Eagle Drive, Raceland, Louisiana. I'm announcing my candidacy for assessor for Lafourche Parish. And the reason I'm announcing that candidacy is because of the past issues I've had with the current assessor. Mr. Chairman, Councilman, Mr. President, I've got 2 sons that graduated high school here, went to Nichols. I graduated from Nichols State University, continued my education as postgraduate courses at Tulane and at Nichols towards an MBA. So I'm probably the most qualified person to run for assessor at this point. We have the highest millage rate of all the surrounding parishes. We are at 128 mills here in Lafourche Parish. Terrebonne Parish is at 90 mills. And it is difficult for businesses to justify staying in Lafourche when we're at the highest millage rate. For the last 3 months, I've been talking with businesses here in Lafourche, and there's some of them that have moved on to Terrebonne Parish or even other parishes because of this. It's difficult for us to attract businesses into Lafourche, because I know if I was a businessman, and at one time that's all I was a business person, I would certainly consider the millage rate before moving into a parish or a county if it was out of state. So we have to address the millage rate. And one of the things that I've noticed in the last 3 years since I have gotten involved with the assessor's office is that we have an issue with uniformity and valuation. And I've also talked with a number of residents in the area. And I've also got my hands on what we call a ratio study. And I'd be glad to discuss with y'all, but that's going to take a lot longer than 3 minutes. But this ratio study's results show that we are at a 57% failure rate in keeping our assessments, what the Louisiana Tax Commission considers to be uniformity in assessments. So therefore, I feel that by correcting this uniformity issue, we can probably address the millage rate and have that come down. So with that said, I thank you for your attention and look forward to helping you in the future.
Thank you, Mr. Terrio.
Mr. Farrell Boudreaux, if you'd come to the podium, Mr. Boudreaux, state your name and address for the record. Please
Farrell
remember you have
Boudreaux.
3 minutes.
West 11th Street, 713, La Rose, Louisiana. I'm gonna be asking y'all what's going on with our drainage ditch. Y'all hired outside contractor to come out and dig it. It all caved in. Y'all fighting for it to not cave in no more. I'm asking what y'all doing past that point. You know, I mean, 'cause if they dig the ditch they dug in the back behind my house, y'all gonna be in my drain field. So,
Does anyone know the specific project he's talking about? I know this is just specific, it's not for everyone that's, you want to answer that, Dylan?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Mr. Farrell, so the ditch we dug in the back, we had about 500 feet fail. And the reason it failed is because the contractor dug about 600 feet of that ditch, and then we had 6 inches of rain that afternoon when they knocked off. So it was fresh material. We have been fighting and letting the grass grow to try to reestablish it. If you notice, we went back, I think 2 weeks ago, keyed the ditch bank and brought in some clay and reestablished it. We had 7 foot of that 500 foot fail again. We fixed it as well. So it's just going to be a little battle that we're going to continue fighting until the grass takes over, but it seems to be holding and is doing much better than before. The first phase of the project was Avenue G to the canal. That is complete. As long as the bank stabilizes and holds, as soon as we are comfortable with that bank, we are going to start talking to residents and move further up Avenue G. But above Avenue G is going to require a right-of-way from those landowners. We currently don't have a right-of-way there. There is a ditch there, but the parish does not have a right-of-way. So we will need to get right-of-ways from the residents. The ditch will not be the size that it is from Avenue G to the back. The reason that the ditch is the size it is because it's a function of elevation and the height of the ridge in which we had to cut through. As you know, where you are and where some of the other residents are north of Avenue G, or upstream of Avenue G, I should say, it's a low spot. So the ditch will be much smaller.
yeah, you have low spots throughout the whole.
Correct, but we had to dig the ditch through the ridge at an elevation to be able to drain the low spot. So that was all planned in the original engineering project.
Can we get y'all out there to at least clean that ditch? I mean, at least.
If we
cut
had
it
a
or
right-of-way.
something?
Yes, we are going to start reaching out to residents and asking them to acquire right-of-way. If we get a right-of-way, we will clean that ditch.
I mean,
And
the
we'll
cut-
continue to maintain it.
The cut grass is taller than me in the
I understand.
ditch, you know, I mean, it's not gonna drain, you know, that's pretty
Look,
much all that, you know.
It's in bad shape. We'd be happy to clean it. It needs it. It hasn't been cleaned in quite some time. We were able to go in there with a whole harness after the storm and at least get the sheds and materials out. So we did that, but we are looking forward to getting the right away from the residents and digging that ditch.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Ms. Wendy Thibodeau, if you come to the podium, Ms. Thibodeau, State your name and address for the record. Please remember you have 3 minutes.
Hello, my name is Wendy Thibodeau, 233 Rue Colette in Thibodeau. My name is Wendy Thibodeau. Thank you for having me. I am here to announce that I am seeking re-election for Lafourche Parish Assessor. I believe in fair and equitable assessments, and proof that we do attain fair and equitable assessments is that my office and I have never failed annual Louisiana Tax Commission ratio study. If I ever failed a ratio study that is conducted annually, they will not certify my tax roll, meaning that you would know because you would not get your money for your budget. So a good way to indicate whether I pass my ratio study annually or not is if you get your budget and you pay all of your bills. So another thing that I believe in fair and equitable is that I was faced with the task after Hurricane Ida to reassess 55,000 structures. And I chose not to do just a blanket percentage of depreciation because I didn't think it was fair that the people that sustained more damage got the same amount of depreciation as those that didn't. Some things in my office that I am proud to say that I got is in 2022, I was named Bayou Industrial Group's Big Achiever. Also in 2022, I was named Louisiana's Assessor of the Year. That is the first time that has ever been awarded to Lafourche Parish, so I'm very, very proud of that. Another thing that I did in 2023, beginning on Thanksgiving and lasting through Mardi Gras, is I enrolled in an online 12-week class to become certified in vessel valuation, because what we all know is that our tax base is heavily reliant on that industry, and I believe to be educated to the maximum capacity that I possibly can. 2 o'clock in the morning online classes was not favorable, but I'm glad it's over with. I'm one of 5 people in the state that hold that certification. Moving forward, I just want to let you know that I'm sure y'all are all aware, but I want the public to be aware that the assessor has the authority over valuation of property. That's what an ad valorem assessor does. It's according to value. We have no control or authority over the millage rates because annually y'all are aware that y'all come and y'all vote on what the millage rates go up or down or what y'all are going to levy. I have no control over that or authority over that, and I don't want authority over that. So I just want to kind of clear that up. Moving forward, I'm happy to say that after Ida, my South Lafourche office was destroyed and my staff has been driving up to Thibodeau for 2 years now. I'm happy to say that the port is allowing us to move into their temporary building, and we are working to get that up and running to better service the South Lafourche area. And finally, I want to make everyone aware that today I just went to New Orleans. The Attorney General's office has asked me to be part of the team to testify against FEMA for risk rating 2.0 flood insurance. So I'm very happy and proud to say that I will be representing Lafourche Parish and testifying on the negative impact that will have on our property valuations and what that trickle-down effect means to us as districts providing governmental services. Because if those market values go down, the Constitution dictates that I levy and assess property according to market. If that goes down, you get less money for your budgets to conduct governmental services like you're supposed to. I'm asking for your support to continue to do what I absolutely love to do. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Wendy.
That's it.
All right. Okay, with that said, we'll keep moving right on our agenda. Item J, public hearing and ordinances for ratification. We have no ordinances tonight. Item K, proposed ordinances. Ms. Chesson, you have the floor, ma'am.
Proposed ordinance 5, establishing a 4-way stop at the corner of Natalie Park Drive and Pond Drive, Thibodaux, Louisiana, Ward 1, District 1, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, installing necessary 4-way stop signs and providing penalties for the violations thereof. Mr. Michael Groh. 6, proposed ordinance prohibiting grass cuttings from the mowing of a lawn from being directed or blown onto the street and/or on a neighbor's property. Mr. William Adams. A proposed ordinance number 7, accepting the subdivision known as Old Town Subdivision, Phase 3, into the parish system. Mr. Jerry Jones for administration. Proposed ordinance 8, approving a servitude agreement between Ravenswood Plantation Incorporated and Lafourche Parish Government in the Lockport area. and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Mr. Otam for administration. Proposed ordinance number 9, approving a non-warranty cash sale agreement for property adjudicated to Lafourche Parish government located on Sandra Street, LaRose, Louisiana, 70373. Assessment number 00415962200, with a minimum starting bid of $12,533.14, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer administer said cash sale and any and all relevant documents. Ms. Dotan for administration. 10, proposed ordinance approving a non-warranty cash sale agreement for property adjudicated to Lafourche Parish government located at 20644 Highway 1, Golden Meadow, Louisiana, 70357. Assessment number 01021555800, with a minimum starting bid of $13,741.80, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said cash sale, any and all relevant documents. Mr. Daniel Lorraine for administration. Number 11, proposed ordinance rescinding ordinance number 6772 that approved a non-warranty cash sale agreement for property adjudicated to Lafourche Parish government located on Bayou Lane, Thibodaux, Louisiana, 70301, assessment number 00205427760, for a minimum starting bid of $5,620, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Mr. Daniel Lorraine for administration.
Thank you very much, Ms. Chesson.
You're welcome.
Item L, resolutions. Number 12, resolution of the Lafourche Parish Council, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, supporting the display of the national motto, "In God We Trust," in the Lafourche Parish Council chambers in a prominent location at the Matthews Government Building, Matthews, Louisiana. Motion by Mr. Araby, second by Ms. Chesson. Any discussion? So this is something our neighbors have done over the past several years. It's a movement across the United States, something we saw at NACO. I would only request that the administration please assist us in achieving this resolution. No one else has anything to discuss. We'll move it to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passed with 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 13, resolution requesting the administration to follow the installation of traffic calming devices on parish streets in the order in which they were enacted by the council. Moved by Mr. Jones, second by Mr. Adams. Discussion. Mr. Araby.
One question I got about this resolution, Mr. President, would that affect the 3 streets I have on the list already? Or those streets will be completed?
I mean, they're still going to be completed, but we're going to go in the order in which they were approved. So yeah, they'll still be completed.
You mean they're gonna be completed like anytime soon?
Yeah. I mean, as I understand the ordinance, and I don't want to speak, or the resolution, I mean, I don't want to speak for Mr. Jones, but, I mean, the discussion at the last meeting was whether or not Mr. Jones was going to jump anybody else's. The theory behind the resolution is that they're going to be installed in the order in which they were approved. So they're still, we're going
But
to.
I'm talking about, I get thrown sometime at me that they got the street that's been on the list for quite a few years back. Is that gonna be affected? Is that gonna, the streets that were down years ago, is that gonna jump ahead of some of the other ones?
They would be installed in the order in which they were approved.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, Mr. Jones.
only, this is what y'all requested last meeting, Daniel and Araby. Y'all requested this. I put it on so to make sure the administration do exactly what they're supposed to do. But it came from y'all. Y'all requested it.
I don't recall requesting that.
Yeah, I think the discussion, but I think where I'm getting confused now is, are we talking about stuff that's been on the books for years that kind of been going abandoned? Is that what's being discussed now? No. I mean, does anybody is there a list, I guess?
Yeah, there is a list.
How many's on that list right now? Any idea?
You still got your bonded done?
That's a question I have. When we talk about a bunch of a lot, are we?
Because they ran out of money.
So there are, I mean, I think Daniel has some that are on the list. I think there's a couple in your district, Mr. Chairman, that were approved years ago.
Oh, okay, I'm not voting for
So
this
we would have to,
resolution.
what we would have to do is if you don't want them in your districts anymore, we would just rescind those old ordinances. But they would be installed in the order in which the ordinances were approved, yeah.
Yeah, I think we probably need to look at it. In my opinion, we need to look at a list of what's going on, and we all need to sit down, all of us, I guess, and try to figure out what's still active and not. Anyway, Mr. Lorraine.
So if I got some on the list, that should be way ahead of everybody, I would think.
40 years ago.
That's
Mr.
what
Jones.
that's what you requested, Daniel. That's 50 years ago.
All right. Mr. Araby? Okay. All right, any further discussion on this? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Nay. Nays, raise your hand. 1, 2. All right, motion passes with 7 yeas, 2 nays. Item 14, resolution engaging the firm of Coulter, Slavin and Company LLC to perform Lafourche Parish Council's statutorily required audit of and for the year ended December 31st, 2023, not to exceed $69,500, and authorizing the parish president to sign and execute, to sign any and all necessary documents. Ms. Chesson will move on behalf, second by Mr. Adams. Discussion? So this is only going to be for 1 year because this particular council and administration ends at the end of this year. However, I think there is a option in the wording, or they would give us that option to continue with them. As you may recall, there was nobody else interested when we went years ago on this. So likely next year we would want to do a multi-year.
Right.
And by the way, the increase was only a few $100, $1,500, which is unbelievable. So anyway, with that said, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes with 9 yeas and 0 nays. Item 15, resolution declaring a fisheries catastrophe arising from the surge of imported shrimp in unrestricted volumes. Moved by Mr. Lorraine, seconded by Ms. Chesson. Any discussion?
I got some.
Go ahead, Mr. Lorraine.
I'd appreciate if this council would consider supporting this to try and help out these shrimpers with all this imported stuff. And they're working real hard, and they need our support, men and women. And I'd appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Lorraine. Oh, we have someone that wants to speak on the, okay, we have someone that wants to speak on this resolution.
Ms. Kim Chauvin, please come to the
So we meet again. Kim Chauvin, 5248 Bayou-Side Drive in Chauvin. So, Mr. Daniel Lorraine, thank you for bringing this next resolution to the forefront to your council. Over the first 5 months of 2023, January to May, the U.S. imported 299 tons of shrimp. That converts to about 599 million pounds of imported shrimp. The American people consume approximately 1 billion pounds of shrimp in a year. There are top 7 countries that import into the United States. They're India, Ecuador, Indonesia, Vietnam, Thailand, China, Mexico. The U.S. shrimp imports are currently overwhelming, sourced from 4 countries, of which Commerce has previously confirmed unfair trade practices in 3, which we brought that anti-dumping lawsuit in, I think, 2004. Since then, Ecuador has surged by 54% since 2020, and the reason that they can do this is it's borrowing money from the World Bank. And in the last year alone, it's been 3 different loans, 500 million, 700 million, another 500 million. They're ramping up their shrimp production, and they're sending it into this country. We are conversing with our delegation through letters, through phone calls, through emails, and allowing them to know some of the things that we're going through in the shrimp fishery. This is the type of information that we're bringing to the Department of Commerce, the U.S. trade representatives, and we also have different parishes that are jumping on board to pass this resolution. And we're reaching into Mississippi, South Carolina, Georgia, and we have some in Alabama that are wanting to bring it too. So the first resolution that you passed, plus this resolution coming up too. When you look at the amount of imports, it's going up from 92.2% of total import volume to 90.1% just in 2022. What I'm saying is you have the 4 countries, which is Ecuador, Indonesia, Vietnam, and India, that produce 92.2% of the volume that has come in, and it's also rising each year. So remember that I told you that the American consumer only consumes 1 billion pounds in a year, and up from May, we're at 599 million when it comes to the imports coming in. That's not accounting for June, July, August, and September so far. I would hope that each of you vote in favor of this resolution that you have before you in a declaration of the shrimp fishery disaster. St. Bernard, Plaquemines, Cameron has done it. Town of Jean Lafitte, Town of Westwego has passed it. Lafourche, tonight is your night. Tomorrow night, you keep beating my council to the punch. You know, theirs is tomorrow night. Jefferson is taking it on. Iberia, the town of Grand Isle too. And the other parishes are calling in to let me know when it'll be on their agenda, that I'll be making my rounds to give the same testimony to them. So thank you again for allowing me to bring information concerning another resolution for our shrimp fishery.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Chesson.
And there will be a meeting Monday night at the Cutoff Youth Center, 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock for the shrimpers.
I think that has to do with the grant part of it, you know? Oh, yeah, Louisiana Shrimp Association.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
okay, thank
Do
you.
we have any further discussion? Mr. Lynn has asked if we'll do a unanimous second. Normally, you do that so that we avoid all the discussion afterwards and you just go straight to, so it's done. But out of respect and for this being something significant to us, does anyone object to unanimous second? So everyone's good with that, unanimous second? So everyone's good? All in favor? Signify by saying aye. So this will pass with unanimous second. Thank you, Ms. Corleen. Okay, item 16, resolution appointing one member on the Head Start Policy Council as a community representative alternate. Ms. Chesson for the administration. Who do you have, Ms. Chesson?
Ms. Lindsay Savoy.
Second by Mr. Jones for Ms. Lindsay Savoy. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9-0. Item 17, resolution reappointing one member to the Fire Protection District Number 1 Board. Mr. Araby for the administration. Who do you have, Mr. Araby?
One vacancy, one reappointment, Mr. Dean Martin.
Motion, Mr. Dean Morgan, second by Mr. Wendell. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9-0. Item 18, resolution approving a subaward grant agreement between the Louisiana Workforce Commission, Office of Workforce Development, and Lafourche Parish Council, Office of Community Action for the Community Services Block Grant Fiscal Year 2024 and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones for the administration, second by Mr. Adams. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 19, resolution approving the services of DRC Emergency Services LLC for contracted services relative to private property nuisance abatement of condemned structures to proceed with demolition and debris removal 23-094.10 and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Adams on behalf of the administration, second by Mr. Jones. Any discussion? I can tell you this is the one that excites me the most to see who's on that list every agenda. With that said, we'll move it to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 20, resolution approving an agreement between Lafourche Parish Council, Office of Community Action, and Unitech Training Academy, Houma Campus for the purpose of providing tuition assistance and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones for the administration, second by Mr. Adams. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes with 9 yeas and 0 nays. Item 21, resolution approving an agreement between Lafourche Parish Council, Office of Community Action, and Rouse's Enterprise for the purpose of providing food assistance and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones for the administration, second by Mr. Adams. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes with 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 abstention. That abstention being Councilman Wendell. Got it, Ms. Carleen? Item 22, resolution approving agreement between Lafourche Parish Council, Office of Community Action, and Lady of the Sea Community Pharmacy Number 1 for the purpose of providing prescription assistance and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones for the administration, second by Ms. Chesson. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes with 9 yeas and 0 nays. Item 23, resolution approving agreement between Lafourche Parish Council, Office of Community Action, and the Lady of the Sea Community Pharmacy Number 2 for the purpose of providing prescription assistance and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones for the administration, second by Ms. Chesson. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas and 0 nays. Item 24, resolution approving an agreement between Lafourche Parish Council, Office of Community Action, and Jake's Kids LLC for the purpose of providing school uniform assistance and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones for the administration, second by Mr. Adams. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 25, resolution approving an agreement between Lafourche Parish Council, Office of Community Action, and Fletcher Technical Community College for the purpose of providing tuition assistance and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones for the administration, second by Mr. Adams. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 abstention. That abstention being Councilman Wendell. Item 26, resolution approving an agreement between Lafourche Parish Council, Office of Community Action, and Williams Technical College for the purpose of providing tuition assistance and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones for the administration, second by Mr. Adams. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes with 9 yeas and 0 nays. Item 27, resolution approving an agreement between Lafourche Parish Council, Office of Community Action, and Nicholls State University for the purpose of providing tuition assistance and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones for the administration, second by Mr. Adams. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 abstention. That abstention being Councilman Adams. Item 28, resolution approving an agreement between Lafourche Parish Council, Office of Community Action, and Economy Inn for the purpose of providing temporary housing assistance and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones for the administration, second by Mr. Adams. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 29, resolution approving an agreement between Lafourche Parish Council, Office of Community Action, and Deauville Inn and Suites for the purpose of providing temporary housing assistance and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones for the administration, second by Mr. Adams. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 30, resolution approving amendment number 1 to the agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and GIS Engineering LLC for the project titled Eunice Alamo Pump Station, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said amendment and any all relevant documents. Ms. Chesson will move on behalf of the administration, second by Mr. Adams. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes with 9 yeas and 0 nays. Item 31, resolution approving amendment number 2 to the intergovernmental agreement between the state of Louisiana through the Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority, CPRA, Board, and Lafourche Parish Government for the Grand Bayou Freshwater Reintroduction Project, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said amendment and any all relevant documents. Someone move on my behalf, moved by Mr. Adams on my behalf of the administration, second by Ms. Chesson. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes with 9 yeas and 0 nays. Item 32, resolution approving change order number 1 from Sea Level Construction Incorporated for the project titled Hurricane Ida Storm Damage Repairs to Parish Bridges, increasing the contract price by $30,551.44 and adding 408 calendar days to the contract time, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said change order and any all relevant documents. Moved by Ms. Chesson for the administration, second by Mr. Adams. Discussion. None? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes with 9 yeas and 0 nays. Item 33, resolution approving amendment number 2 to the agreement between the Louisiana Workforce Commission, Office of Workforce Development, and Lafourche Parish Council, Office of Community Action for the Community Services Block Grant Fiscal Year 2023, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said amendment and any all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones for the administration, second by Mr. Adams. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas and 0 nays. Item 34, resolution approving an assignment agreement from Tax-Free Plans Administrators to Cobra Professionals Incorporated, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Adams for the administration, second by Mr. Jones. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas and 0 nays. Item 35, resolution accepting the low bid of Onshore Construction Company, LLC, in the amount of $1,785,000 for the project titled New Animal Shelter, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer an agreement and any all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones for the administration, second by Mr. Adams. Discussion. Only comment I'll make is I wish it was moved to the central part of the parish instead all the way on the north end, but glad to see this coming. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes with 9 yeas and 0 nays. Item 36, resolution approving task order number 1 for the project titled Hurricane Ida Project Management Services with ELOS Environmental LLC, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said task order and any all relevant documents. Ms. Chesson will move on my behalf of the administration, second by Mr. Jones. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas and 0 nays. Item 37, resolution approving change order number 1 from Roof Technologies Incorporated for the project titled Hurricane Ida Repair Renovations, Sheriff's Office Roof Replacement, decreasing the contract price by $14,000 $452 and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said change order and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Griffin, administration, second by Mr. Wendell. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes with 9 yeas and 0 nays. Item 38, resolution approving an agreement between the Office of Community Development and Lafourche Parish Government implementing a grant under the Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery and Mitigation Resiliency Programs for the Bayou Vista Drainage Project and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Mr. Melvin for the administration, second by Mr. Wendell. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes with 9 yeas and 0 nays. Item 39, resolution approving an agreement between T. Baker Smith LLC and Lafourche Parish Government for professional services for the project titled GIS Systems, Infrastructure, and Data Integration, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Moved by Ms. Adams for administration, second by Mr. Jones. Discussion. There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 40, resolution approving an intergovernmental cooperative agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and the Greater Lafourche Port Commission for use of the Port Annex Building and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Moved by Ms. Shessel for the administration, second by Mr. Adams. Discussion, Mr. President, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to publicly thank the Port Commission for allowing us to use this building. As the assessor just noted, she'll be moving in there along with the clerk of court and the district attorney when they go down south. So we appreciate their willingness to be a partner.
Outstanding. Thanks to the port. No further discussion. We'll bring this one to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes with 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 41, resolution approving agreement between Public Works One Incorporated and Lafourche Parish Government for on-site data collection services and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Moved by Ms. Adams for administration, second by Mr. Jones. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Brings us to item M, parish president, department heads, directors, or managers' reports, presentations, and or updates. Item 42, Department of Public Works representative to present a report. Dylan, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started at Thibodeau Field Offices, Layton Pump Canal, Clean Borrow Canal. Heroes Park, remove stumps and repaired holes for in-kind service with recreation. East Killarney Drive, swept outfall. Lavera Drive, clean concrete line ditch. Moving to the Choctaw Field Offices, the Bayou Buff School Levee, clean Borrow Canal. Mark Lane, replace collapsed driveway culvert. Blue Ridge Drive, swept outfall. Floral Street, swept roadside ditches. I'm sorry, this is Bayou Blue Field Office. Also the Bayou Blue Field Office, Kimono Drive, swept outfall. Laura Street, trim low-hanging tree branches. Moving to Raceland Field Offices, Bayou Vista Drive, swept roadside ditches. Leonard Street, swept roadside ditches. A Mike Bro outfall, cleared trees from that outfall so we can start to maintain it and cut it with the tractors. Millie Street, swept roadside ditches. Moving to Lockport Field Offices, Fantastic Acres, replace collapsed driveway culvert. We continue to dig the outfall on the Nolan Toops North outfall. This is West 11th Street, which you heard a resident speak about earlier. You'll see one of our new inner greens mowers cutting on the left side. On the right side, you'll see where the ditch bank failed, and we hauled in clay and stepped in that bank. Moving to Galliana Field Offices, East 23rd Street, replace collapsed driveway culvert. East 40th Street, built bulkhead to prevent erosion. Galliana Pontoon Bridge, this is some maintenance work that we completed while the bridge was down and broken. We changed the hydraulic oil in the bridge. West 219th Street, trim low-hanging tree branches. And we have a good bit of work that was completed by the maintenance contractor over the last month. This is Aspen Drive, repair broken concrete panels. East 6th Street, repair concrete driveway. Also here at East 6th Street, repair the concrete driveway. Twin Oaks Drive, repaired a culvert connection as well as the concrete over it. Pecan Street, repaired a concrete driveway and another one in the rear. Romey Drive, repaired a concrete driveway. Lake Hudson Circle, we repaired a few curbs. You'll see one here at 114. And another one here at 120. This is 6th Street. It was an asphalt street repair. As well as here at 7123. Lake and Cardinal Drive, the intersection of asphalt street repair. And Highland and 14th Street asphalt street repair. A lot of these street repairs are due to either road-based failures or culverts being changed underneath them because of rotten culverts. There's another one here at the intersection of Romney and 7th Street and Romney and 12th. Some other base failures we have at 137 Robert Street is the asphalt street repair, as well as 275 Virginia Street. As far as the work completed in the office during the month of August, there were no permanent servitudes required. 1 major subdivision inspection and 6 major subdivision reviews. There were 10 property redivision reviews. As far as permits, there were 13 culvert permits and 7 fence permits issued. 458 work requests were received. I think the online work order system is going really well. A lot of people are starting to use it. 103 permits were reviewed for compliance. We added this new tab, jobs completed by the maintenance contractor. There were 19 jobs in the month of August completed by the maintenance contractor. And as far as engineering, there were currently 28 projects in design phase, 5 projects under construction. 1 project is currently out for bid, as Mr. John mentioned earlier, and 5 projects were complete. And that concludes my presentation. With that, I'll entertain any questions.
Does anyone have any questions for Dylan? Mr. Melvin?
Hey, D, real quick.
Yes, sir.
A while back, we visited down Parkside behind Mr. Io's house, and I know some of the engineers calling for steep, but I mean, I'm still concerned about soil structure because we can dig them steep and the water flows, but then it collapses, but I know it's been dry. He called me, said, look, we came out here, but he hadn't seen anybody, so I don't know if we trimming trees or if we sloping to get some of his land back or what we can do, but he was curious about that.
So the only way we can really fix that is to increase the slope, but if we increase the slope, we're going to encroach in his yard.
Okay, I'll talk to him. Also,
And when I do say increase the slope, I mean lay it down.
right. So, off of East Windsor, there was a man who, like some people, built a driveway in the right-of-way. He didn't want the tracks coming onto his driveway because it had broken it before. So when he put his truck, to make sure he didn't want the tracks on his driveway because it broke years ago, he said they came by with a tractor and cut. He don't mind the tractor because it's rubber tires. He was asking if we could please make a pass along the ditch, which is actually paralleling Parkside. So he's down one of those dead ends that have some houses on that, but by the water property, it's on East Windsor.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
dead
about.
end. Yeah.
Usually we have to cut it with inmates because he doesn't let
Right,
us
yes,
bring the
sir.
tractor. So now
And,
he's allowing us to bring the tractor?
Last question. What's that, sir?
Now he's allowing us to bring the tractor? Usually we have to
He
cut it
said
with
he
inmate.
didn't have a problem with the tractor. He
Okay.
didn't want the Traco, okay? So lastly, real quick, the manhole covers, I don't think it's total subsidence, but I noticed, I got a few texts from folks and we discussed, some of the manhole covers seem like they're raising, but I think it's just, lack of rain, and they don't want their cars to,
Yep, so that when you send us, the maintenance contractor has a PO in hand. As
Okay.
soon as they can get to it, they will.
Okay, I'm gonna send you a couple more addresses. Thank you.
Yep. And what's happening is those manholes are real deep, so the manholes aren't moving, but the road is moving around it. Yes, sir.
Mr. Grew?
Yes, since you mentioned inmates, so we have inmates back? I know there was
Yes.
a COVID outbreak.
Except for last week.
Okay, all right. And kind of along those lines, so obviously Abigail's not the only ditch that we have issues where we can only cut one side. Is there a piece of equipment that we have in the budget for next year that can cut that?
So the
arm
problem with
of the
that is we now have 4 units that have 30 foot of reach. The problem is once you get outside of that 30 foot of reach, the equipment's not stable.
Okay.
And it breaks everything, right? Because you're hanging too much weight off the side. So really, they don't make anything that you can
So,
cut
yeah,
that far
there's
with.
no, okay, so we don't have a product that could safely cut it, so that's why we get.
That's correct.
inmates.
And what we try to do, we try to police this through subdivision review and not allow them to have ditches that are 40 foot wide because we know we have trouble maintaining it. Or if they do come with a ditch that's 40 foot wide, we require that we have right of ways on both sides. So we have a way to police it moving forward, but we don't have a way to go back and fix the ones that are already in that
Okay.
state. Does that make sense?
It does, it does. And my next one is on item number 13, Mr. Terry's thing he brought up about the traffic calming devices. So, and I should have mentioned it then, but if you happen in your deep dive to see you know, the pecking order has stuff, at least in my district, from Aaron Kiowa or Mike Delott, even in the northern part of mine. I'd like to know before y'all show up.
So what we're gonna do is if we find one, we're gonna reach out to each councilman and let them know what we found in your district. And if it's something you wanna rescind, you can rescind it, then it's out of order, and then we can move forward with the order as,
Okay.
makes sense?
So, all right, that was my next question. So, if we find something, based on last meeting's conversation, do we need to resend something if we would like to move forward with a speed calming device?
Alternative.
That's considered a traffic calming device, right?
Alternative,
There's no
yeah.
verbiage in the.
It's gonna depend on what the original says, whatever
It
the
says-
original resolution
yeah,
says. If it
everyone I've
says
seen-
speed hump, then it's a speed hump, or you can amend it, I guess.
Everyone I've seen's been called traffic calming devices, so
Mm-hmm.
I think technically those, and I think the ask of my counterparts up here, it would be to really think about that. And maybe go to whoever championed that street, the survey of the speed, or a meeting with the residents, to maybe reach out to that person, if you could find out from Detective, whoever took over Foreman's, Mr. Munoz, maybe reach out to him and grab that original file and look at it, because I think Councilman Oten's onto something with that, you know.
And I will say, we did a quick search, once we saw this on the, thing, there's only 3 streets that we found. We're gonna look in detail, and look for it, but there's only 3 streets. One's in Councilman Lorraine's district, one's in Chairman Oten's district, and one's in,
Right.
Councilman Adams' district, so.
Right. And 'cause
We're
I
gonna
can
reach
tell
out
you,
to everybody
my parents
before we-
live on Winder Road in Waverly Oaks. That comes out of District 3 next year with the new thing. They've got way too many. I mean, you stop 5 times for 500 yards, you know, and then there's 2 stop signs in between, 3-way stops. So I almost want to rescind that and put 1 or 2 of
different.
those. And
And
move
look, some
those
of
to- you know, you could take, they're in good shape, move those down Waverly or wherever we do need them, you know, because that's something we really should think about too. Some of the ones we have there now that, I mean, I'm telling you, you know, to get to my parents' house, which is midway down the road before the first stop of Parish Road, you hit 2 of them. You know, that slows down an ambulance 2 times, you know, when they can blow past that.
Some of the agreements call out exactly how many speed humps need to be there, what the distance is between them. Some of them leaving open-ended. I know Mr. Araby's and Rayson, we left them open-ended. We sat and met, and we went through it and created a map on what we're gonna install, but the ordinance itself doesn't say how many there need to be, so.
Okay.
It all depends on what it says.
Brings up a good point. So the traffic study is good for 3 months, 6 months? I mean, obviously it changed, the dynamics changed, because I know where there's a bunch of speed humps in between the 2 streets, the 2 bridges in Rayson, a lot of that's been demolished, a lot of those apartments and all. So how long are the traffic studies good for?
I do
6
not know.
months?
I can look into that.
Okay.
I do not know the answer to
I'm sorry, Mr. Jones had his light up before you, Mr. Wendell. Go ahead, Mr. Jones.
Mr. Lafourche, alert bumps on Richfield Road.
We,
Need to be addressed.
I know you reached out the other day saying that they are starting to peel up. We went out and made a site visit on Thursday. We contacted the vendor Thursday afternoon. We were waiting to hear back from the vendor. They didn't know of any issues, but they are looking into it for us. So
Yeah,
as soon as I know something, they should have
Alright.
lasted longer than what they did, so.
Yeah, it's been a couple months and
That's right.
they coming loose.
There's something going on.
Right. Also, the traffic light on Richfield
Yes, sir.
and Talbot.
It was installed
Is
last
that-
week.
It was installed.
It was installed-
Is that for the city or the parish?
No, sir, it's for the parish.
Okay, because Councilman District C put on Facebook that the city got that installed. I was wondering if the city gonna pay that bill.
We can send it to them if you like.
All right. Okay.
No, we did pay for the equipment, and we paid All Star, who is our lighting contractor, to install it. We have discussed everything with Energy. Energy has everything they need. All the documentation is signed. As soon as Energy gets an available meter, they will install a meter and give us power. I'm told that's gonna be sometime this week, so you should see them flashing by Friday.
Also, last but not least, the Louise Street ditch and the Diplomat Way ditch need to be swept.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. Wendell.
Hey, Dylan, we talked over the last couple meetings about some servitude and fencing in back of Bayou Falls to get that cleaned out. You know if we've gotten anywhere with that?
I'm happy to tell you that we are waiting on 2 signatures. We
Yes,
have
indeed.
everything we need except for 2 more signatures. We are continuing to reach out to those residents. As soon as we find a time where we're available and they're available, we will get those signatures and get it done.
The pump at Prospect by the Corps, do you know if that's completed, underway, ran into some delays?
I
'Cause
do
I've
not
heard
know.
some
That is a,
conflicting stories.
I do not think it is complete yet, but that is a project that's going on, with North Lafourche Levy District. That will be their pump station.
Okay.
I can find out for you and email you.
I noticed there was a lot of pictures up there of some more curbs crumbling that we have in Cairo and Highland Oaks, and you have some other places. Is that one from the intruding slab
Probably.
as well?
Probably so.
Do you think we need to look at building codes to include, because it seems like we're spending a lot of
It's-
time and effort.
We are. The good thing is it's not a whole bunch of money in the grand scheme of things. You know, we're replacing some of these curbs for, I think our current price is $17 a linear foot. So it is a little bit of money, but it's not compared to some of the other stuff we do.
Right.
I just don't know how you police it. That's my only concern. You know, that would be something during the building process, and I don't know if that's something that we really want to add to permits, and they're already overburdened with that stuff. But we have toyed with the idea and talked about writing something up, but again, how do you police it? And it's one more thing to add to the
Right.
list.
And the last thing, I wonder if you can give me a little bit of help on this. The corner of Pearl, Pearle in 316, there's a catch basin that belongs to the state. I've put in about 3 requests to the state. The grading on top of the catch basin is collapsed. The barn went out there and put some cones for me, but I don't think anybody from the state has gone out there and looked at it. And if a car pulls off at too sharp of an angle, it looks like the garbage truck or the school bus busted through it, but a car or a truck is gonna fall in it and get stuck halfway on the
Yeah, I'll
highway.
call the engineer from District 2 tomorrow. You said Pearl and what?
Pearl and 316,
And 316. I'll call
catty-corner
him.
to Country Estate. There's 2 big delineators out there trying to keep passenger cars from driving into it.
Yes, sir. I'll
But
follow up on that.
Vaughn and them looked at it, and it is a state catch basin. Thanks, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Lorraine?
Yeah, Dylan, I make most of the town meetings in Golden Meadow, and they're still in Rhodes Hills Tax District. They've been sending you a copy of letters for Ducey Street, and I think it's Ridgewood. Can you check that out and get something done? Ducey, they kind of repaired it a little bit. It's right at, when it gets to 3235 or Alex Plaisance Boulevard. And Ridgewood is toward the back too. It seems like on Ridgewood, I think that's the right street. It looks like a cover or something collapsed, and it makes a big dip.
Yep.
Since they're in it, you know, and I know they've been sending you some letters, and they're still waiting.
I did
So I'd
receive it. We were
appreciate
gonna,
if you would look into
we were gonna
that.
add it to the priority road list project. Not the current one
Well-
that's going out to bid soon, but the following one. I know one of the streets has a lot of linear cracks going down it. Is that correct? I think it's Ducey.
Ducey, that one's like a drainage and a little road problem. It's not the whole street, it's just maybe 100 feet. And the other one is probably about 100 feet, that one too.
Yep. I did get one from the town itself, and then the other one President Chesson sent me from the town. So. I do
And
have
when
both
is that
of them.
other project gonna go out?
So the other
We
project.
should have another project being started.
Yeah, they're wrapping up engineering right now. As soon as they wrap up engineering, they send us the plans, and then we're gonna approve them and get it started. It should be very soon.
Because they still got some funds left in that project.
Yep,
In that district I'm talking about.
we had a few questions, on right-of-way issues, but that's all been cleared up. So now the engineer's ready to finish the project. We did talk yesterday, and he did say they were finished with engineering, they were just cleaning up the plans and sending it to us for
But just
review.
look at those two.
Oh, well, you said
streets
Ducey
up in,
and Ridge, Ducey
I
and
think it's
Ridge?
Ridgewood. John, am I right? Ridgewood? Yeah.
Yep.
Figure John would know, he's the engineer. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lorraine. Mr. Araby?
Mr. Dillon, I want to thank y'all and the crew in Raceland for getting on St. Philip and St. Louis Street and getting those speed humps put down. Y'all just about wrapping up, I think. Pretty close to it. Just
Yes, sir.
hoping that we can continue on getting marketing done and we'll be done with that area right there for now. Also, can you give me an update on the Alidar pump station?
The engineering is 100% complete. All of the permits are in place. We have everything from the railroad track and the pipeline, so we're all ready to go. The only thing now is funding. We are working with the state for additional funding. The project's estimated right at $3.3 million. Let's see, I have some information here. It's estimated right at $3.3 million, and we have right at $1,083,000 left from the state contribution on the DOTD. So that puts us at a deficit of right at 2.2 million. So we are working with the state. The engineer has called DOTD and the people at Statewide Flood Control. We've also contacted local state reps to reach out and work from the top down and try to get us some additional funding. There may be some leftover money. If that leftover money is there, we'd like to have it so we can get the project done. But it is all ready to go. It's just an issue of funding at this point. And even if they can commit to it, it's something we can get started with because we do have $1 million to get started with the project. If they can commit to it for next year, the project is going to go well into next year. So we just need the commitment on the funds at this point. And there is a cost share with the parish, so the parish does have to come up with some money. It is a 90-10 split with statewide flood control. We're just trying to keep it as close to that 90-10 split as we can. And this is a big issue with the project got halted with Ida. Phase 1 came in over budget. And then with all the increases in prices and inflation, the project's just a lot more than it was initially thought out to be on costs.
So it's just gonna continue going up.
That's right, that's right. So we're trying to hurry up and get some answers. There's a lot of people involved pushing for that additional money. It is a little difficult to get some answers from DOTD right now because the DOTD office in Baton Rouge is kind of, a lot of people are changing seats and moving. But we are requesting a lot of people and they're pushing on it. So I'll keep you posted on that, but it's just money right now.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Dylan, the only question I have is, I didn't finish the discussion with you, I think it was yesterday, regarding T-Bois, which maybe most people don't realize, but T-Bois is a parish bridge, or operated bridge, versus like the Bellevue Bridge was a state. And I was going back and forth with you, and I don't think I finished the discussion. The process, if someone's in the canal, they dial the number, 24 hours, there should be someone attendant there, and they will immediately go ahead and open the bridge. It wasn't like the pontoon bridge where you had to call ahead. Like, you can do it, right, real time?
Yep, so I think you talked to Troy yesterday about it, but yeah.
It was Troy, I'm sorry.
That's okay,
Right.
that's okay, but no,
Right.
I can answer that. So, the best thing we tell to mariners is have a radio. They always answer the radio. Now, look, they are obligated to answer the phone too. There is a published phone number for each bridge. I know a lot of EMS and fire personnel use it to let them
Yes,
know that they're
we
coming
do.
and make sure we don't open the bridge. So it does work. They are using it. We had a small issue down the bay. We got that resolved. It was a phone that just wasn't working and we didn't realize it because it doesn't ring very often. We have implemented a test where we call the phone every day. So we know that the bridge attendant is answering the phone and we know that the phone's working.
Okay.
But yeah, they can call the number, but the best thing they can do is, if they're a manor, get a VHF radio and call them on the channel. I want to say it's channel 13. Is that right, Mitch? It's channel 13. The radio is always on. They always hear it.
My assumption is this person didn't have any kind of radio. This was a small vessel, I'm assuming.
And that's typically what happens. They show up with a smaller vessel and a small horn, and they blow the horn, and you sometimes can't hear it in the enclosed
Okay.
bridge house. But we can open it pretty quick. I mean, it's going to depend on what traffic is going on, or if there's an emergency that we know about that's coming. But within a few minutes, traffic ought to slow down enough to be able to open the bridge.
Okay, good. I appreciate that. Thank you, Dylan.
You got it. Thank y'all.
Brings us to item M, questions for the administration. Mr. Lorraine.
Yes, I got a call from the administrator about a week ago, and he let me know that the material is in, or most of it is coming in, but they will start on the roof at the parish building and the library, I guess we could say. And to confirm that, I met with the parish president this afternoon, and he didn't ask me what I want. I told him what I need, and he told me that they were working on it. So they should be repairing that roof, and they don't hear this too often from me, but thank you, guys.
All right, let's move quick. Let's move quick. Ms. Chesson.
Oh, it's gonna snow.
We need those minutes verbatim.
All right.
So, yeah.
Okay, Ms. Chesson has the floor.
Yeah, I wanted to say, I saw all that equipment in the parking lot. Beautiful, it looked beautiful. Everybody's excited about it, so great job, guys. I know it's been a rough ride, and I know, like Mitch said, we're ahead of everybody else in getting what we need from FEMA. Lafourche Parish is in the front of the line. So with that, thank you to Archie and the administration for getting that done. And that's it. That's what I gotta say.
Thank you. I also want to let the record reflect that Councilman Melvin did leave the chambers at approximately 16 hours. Mr. Chesson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to run through a few things. One,
So we're on item O discussion.
go ahead.
Go ahead, Mr. President, go ahead.
Okay. As they noted, the Galliana Complex roof started today, so those guys are starting to peel the old stuff off, take the old air conditions off so we can get that roof done. As the assessor noted, the FEMA trial or the hearing for the injunction on Risk Rating 2.0 is going to be Thursday. I sent all you guys the email today with the time and the address in the courtroom. If you'd like to be there, Parish President Jewell, myself, Dwayne Bourgeois from North Lafourche, Ms. Thibodeau, and Casey Tingle, who's the GOSEP director, are the witnesses set for Thursday morning. The South Lafourche rec facilities for the fields and the lights and the dugouts and stuff are set to open on Thursday. The Raceland Rec set of plans for the fields and the lights and the dugouts is set to open on September 29th. The new Ag Complex Rodeo Arena for our 4-H kids and the Roping Club is set to open bids on October 1st. We did meet this afternoon trying to wrap up some of the budget issues for the 2024 budget. So that should get to you guys by the end of the month per the charter. If we don't have them ready for you by the next council meeting, we'll make sure we get them to you guys. Somebody will go out and deliver them to your houses for you. The demo on the apartments, for you, Mr. Araby, there was an email back and forth with the owner on Sunday, just so I can get an update. He was having an issue with AT&T in one of their lines, so he was trying to clear that up before he started the demo, but hopefully that starts this week. What's that? They're meeting tomorrow, yeah. And then the demo of the shopping center should be starting pretty soon as well for you down the by Ms. Chasson.
Thank you.
And then I know Dylan noted it on his presentation, but if you saw that work on West 11th, we have an outstanding employee, Mr. Chris Zeller, who we're going to recognize, I think, at the next meeting, is doing some extremely good work and running a kind of what we've dubbed the strike team. They kind of do a few things, hot spots in-house. So just kudos to him and all the public works employees that braved the heat this summer to keep water moving and stuff like that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, so we're in last discussion. Ms. Chasson, last comments?
Yes, I want to announce that our Hurricane Festival for the Cutoff Youth Center is next weekend, September 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. So y'all come out, support the youth center, and have a good time with us all.
Thank you, Ms. Chasson. Mr. Wendell?
I just wanted to echo Ms. Chasson. My light was on before hers. So in less than 2 weeks is the Hurricane Festival at Cutoff Youth Center, and this is the time of year that we get into our fair and festival season and support a lot of good nonprofit organizations, our community, organizations around. A couple weeks after that, the Rose Civic Center has their fair. Lafette is a couple weeks after that in Raceland, and I think we move up the bayou to, Chack Bay and Choctaw and all that stuff. So, some of these events are the big money makers for those organizations. So, I'll try to stay on top of it and announce them as they come up, but we are getting into fair and festival season. Come on out and have a good time.
Outstanding. Thank you, Mr. Wendell. And I know, I just last in discussion, I know you mentioned these other rec centers, and so if those of you haven't been to the community center, it's just some impressive work going on there right now. There's a lot of dirt to be moved onto the ball fields, which are coming up next. So, wonderful facility, and I do thank everything going on there. And I'll just mention that if you can just give me an update when you update these apartments on my City Place mess, I'd appreciate it. With that said, we'll move to item P, adjournment on a motion by Mr. Adams, second by Mr. Jones. And with no further business, this Lafourche Parish Council regular meeting of September 12, 2023 will be adjourned at 18:34 hours. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes with 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence. That absence being Mr. Melvin.